Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm gonna be talking about Mercury in Pisces today. And I've mentioned it in a bunch of videos, and I'm trying to chill out a little bit on advertising, but I just wanted to mention again that my December forecast is out for free. It's a really good study material if you're trying to learn about following the planets on a day-by-day basis and kind of, how it affects you. So, Mercury, right? Just basic recap: communication, thinking patterns, logistical, analytical, data-based information, sharing, messages, to a degree, technology. I mean, it represents a lot of things. Pisces is the monk, the unconditional love, the mutable, go with the flow, otherworldly, detached, alien, individual, very sensitive. So when you've got this placement, first of all, right off the bat, since it's a water Mercury, your style of communication is going to be very emotional and very empathetic. So when people are talking to you, you are able to pick up on the subconscious undertones of what they're saying and gain insight on what they're feeling rather than just the words. A lot of times it matches up, but sometimes it doesn't. And Pisces is really good at detecting when it doesn't. And similarly, when you are talking, you are putting a lot of your emotions behind it. And for the most part, you're unable to communicate without getting emotional, which can have positive benefits to your life, such as if you are an artist, or you're really trying to get someone to sympathize with you or relate to you, like you'd be good within a therapy setting, or working with people that have just gone through the same things as you. A way it might be a struggle is more so like, let's say something happens at work or with a partner and you're really trying to get your point across, but you can't help but get so emotional. And then not only are you mentally trying to work something out with someone, but now you've got this emotional thing that you're trying to work out. And depending on the recipient, that might really make it difficult for them to fully understand what it is that you need to be talking about. And they might pick up on all of that, and then it's just going to exacerbate it and make it a really complicated, difficult conversation where before it would have just kind of been logic. So if you do face this situation as a Pisces Mercury, it's best to just warn the person ahead of time. So many people take emotions personally when really it's your own deal that you're going on, and we don't need to absorb all of each other's bullshit. Obviously we're all one, and at the end of the day, like, it's good to be there for people, but we're also, like a cell has a cell membrane and it lets certain things in and out, and that's how it stays healthy within itself. That's kind of how your emotional body is like. So you don't need to let everything in or you're going to get sick. Anyway, my point being is, if you warn someone before you have a conversation, sit down with a friend and be like, look, I just want to let you know that I'm really emotional right now. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling angry, whatever it is. But I really want to have this conversation with you. So, just try to take that into account. I'm not upset with you, or if you are, whatever. But, just communicate what you're feeling so that the other person can separate those things in their mind, and that will make that easier for you if you do have this problem. You really like to talk about other people's feelings, though. Like, you care about it a lot. It's on your mind a lot. What's also on your mind constantly is the state of the world in general, but more so the universe. If you think about it on an emotional level, Cancer, and this is true of all the signs, I'm not going to describe it, but you can figure it out if you like this metaphor. Cancer is the personal emotions, right? It's the first water sign. It's your own inner emotional world, your family, like your really close-knit circle. It's a very small segment. Scorpio deeply cares about kind of the world in general. So it has a much deeper range of emotions. Even if they seem selfish, it's because they're not even really attached to their own emotions a lot of times. It's on a global basis, and the global emotional world's pretty dark right now, so they become very dark. And then Pisces is universal emotions. So that's a lot of chaos and a lot of information to sift through. And that can be really difficult at times. So when it's your sun sign, you're just kind of channeling that all over the place. When it's your Mercury, you're thinking about it constantly. You've got all these different facets of the universe going in and out of your brain constantly. And it might be super hard for you to get your mind to get quiet. I don't even recommend meditation necessarily, although I do, but something that's going to be more effective for Pisces to calm down when it's in Mercury is to channel, is to write. Yes, there's still a lot of words and communication going, but your mind should be relatively blank if you're doing this correctly. If you're getting lots of messages from spirit, or even if there's just lots of different thoughts in your head and you feel like you have different personalities, however it is that you experience this, channel that information. Let it go through your entire body, through all of your chakras, through all of your energy centers, and let it process out. Get a journal, get on a laptop, and just free write. It doesn't even have to, you don't, like, drop expectations, drop intentions. You don't need to be like a famous author or publish any of your stuff. But for Pisces, it can be so helpful to see something in the physical and just be able to see that what was going on in your head is just words, it's just coding, and now it's somewhere else, so it's out of your brain. I really, really recommend writing on a pretty regular basis, channeling with spirit. When you are meditating, it's probably helpful to try and contact something and talk through it. You really need to be conversating with your own personal God, your own personal spirit guides, because the messages are going to be knocking at your door of your brain all the time, and you can keep them all out sometimes, but not really, because Pisces, if you want to talk about the cell membrane again, people that have Pisces cells, they're ones that are very permeable and osmotic, and things are just going to flow in and out without so much structure. Like if you imagine an earth sign cell, it would have very rigid cell walls, and only the things that have the right frequency can penetrate it. Pisces constantly has to deal with things coming in and out of its life without really having a say in it. So they can become sort of a victim mentality. And in this placement, it manifests as if people around you are saying a bunch of negative shit all the time and have really bad attitudes, and you're watching really negative media and consuming really negative television, reading negative literature, that's going to affect your emotional state pretty extremely. It's going to just pass through all those gates, whereas some people can watch that stuff and it doesn't really get to their emotional body. Pisces doesn't really have that option. Even if you think that you don't, it affects you on a subconscious level, and you have to be very, very careful and very sensitive about what you're exposing yourself to and the thoughts that are going on in your head, because Pisces is also prone to developing addictions and kind of delusional behavior in order to cope with its emotions. So in this case, if you're having a lot of negative self-talk, you might reach out to things that are affecting your psychology and affecting your neurochemistry in order to feel better, and that could obviously cause blockages in your life. Just a warning. I don't want to be super negative about it. Pisces is just a very beautiful energy of universal and divine love, though at the time that it's being expressed, this archetype is difficult. It can't fully do that in the world because, like I said, with that permeability, Pisces wants to just walk around sending love, but the harsh reality is that most people aren't going to receive that, and they might throw something back at you, and then you're just hurt. So it's not an easy energy to be right now. None of the water energies are really balanced right now, and being their perfected archetypes. So be the artist when it comes to Mercury and Pisces. Write poetry, speak in poetics, be empathetic, connect with people on a more divine level, connect with spirit, communicate with the cosmos and with the planets, and study astrology. Like, I'll make another video about it, but I'm a Pisces rising, and I feel like that's why I got drawn to astrology, is because Pisces is so lost and you want to understand yourself. So when you have Pisces and Mercury, you really want to know your brain and your thought patterns and why you think the way that you do, and it's very interesting to you and why people communicate the way that they do. So you end up studying humans very much, even though you might feel like an alien. You might feel like the way that you think and communicate is so different from everybody else, and it might very well be, but instead of using this as a reason to isolate yourself, use it as a reason to love yourself. And Pisces does have an isolationism quality, as do the water signs, and typical because, you know, water, I keep bringing back the same cell analogy, but it's like water, when it meets other water, is going to mix together. So your emotions, other people's emotions, it ends up getting really muddy. And in order to clear your head in this case, and to clear your mind, you're going to need to be alone for various parts of the day so that you can really just sit with your own personal energies. Even though obviously Pisces got all this universal stuff going on, really try to pinpoint who you are. Who's the person behind your thoughts? Who is speaking your words? Is it God? Is it spirit? Is it ego? Is it your own personal definition? This is a path that you can explore for quite some time. You're easily moved by people's emotions when it comes to communicating. If someone comes to you crying about something, or they're like, look, I'm really suffering about this thing, you're really going to think about it and do your best to talk them through it and to help them out, like however you're able to do that. You have incredible psychic intuitive abilities. Like, my God, like as far as the Mercury signs go, you can just read everyone. You might not be conscious of it, and you might subconsciously be aware of everyone's thoughts and emotions, but you're able to tell them. So you become a very fascinating person who has a lot of insight, and people go to you for advice, especially about their own stuff that they can't recognize because you are able to recognize it. You'd be a really good storyteller. You're super imaginative, and you're able to create stories and speak with your words that creates this whole new world for people, that it just kind of encapsulates this emotional dreamscape. And speaking of dreams, you probably do a lot of your communicating with spirit while you're unconscious. You probably think about your dreams too a lot during the day. And what's important for you to recognize is that with Pisces in Mercury, if you continuously think about your dreams, not only in the sense of like what happens when you're asleep, but the things that you want, like your dreams, like your long-term goals and visions and stuff like that, if you keep thinking about them, they will manifest. And that's true for everybody, but especially with this sign, you have a really acute ability to visualize something and communicate it to people. And then it can just kind of like pull itself in from other dimensions and just kind of like dissolve into your own reality. So you're very magic. And this creativity and magic and imagination and artistry, those are really going to be the things that you want to focus on. And if you find yourself getting stuck in delusion or too complicated, too over-emotional, like I said, really try to use language and use that Mercury to untangle everything that's going on and get it out of your body and channel it in a healthy way. All right, I don't want this video to be way too long, So I hope that that helps. This was a request video. I'm kind of doing whatever at this point. I've been working on Venus and the moon and stuff like that, some house placements. So if you have anything that you really want me to work on, I'm here for you guys, really. I'm gaining an audience, and I just want to provide whatever it is that you guys need from me, whether that be forecasts or birth charts or just these videos. I'm really grateful to be here. So thank you for watching.